The small salon stool smelled like hair cream and sweat. Aisha stood alone, tying the last bundle of human hair with shaky hands. Outside, the sun was already setting, casting orange light through the torn curtain. Her back ached. Her fingers were sore. But this little shop in the middle of the slum, was her only chance. Laughter echoed from the street. "She really thinks she can make it, selling hair in this place," someone sneered. Another voice joined in. "Who will buy from her? Even her own sister doesn't believe in her." Aisha froze. Her heart tightened. She kept her head down, trying not to cry. This wasn't new. The insults, the mockery, they came almost daily. But today felt worse. Suddenly the curtain flew open. Chinello, her older sister, stormed inside. Her eyes were cold, her lips pulled tight. "Are you still doing this nonsense?" Chinello shouted, kicking over the small stool by the mirror. Aisha flinched. "Please, not today." Chinello picked up one of the hair bundles and threw it on the floor. "You're embarrassing us, Aisha. Do you know what people are saying? That we're beggars with big dreams. That our mother failed, and now you're trying to fail again." Aisha bent down, silently picking up the hair. Her hands shook, but her voice was steady. "I'm not Mama, and I won't fail." Chinello looked at her like she was a stranger. "You had one job. Marry well, build a normal life, but now you're wasting your time with this dirty little stall." Aisha stood up. "I tried the life you wanted for me." He left. "You saw what it did to me." Chinello's voice softened just a little. "I'm trying to protect you." "No," Aisha said, her voice firm now. "You're trying to control me." They stared at each other, years of unspoken pain between them. Chinello shook her head and walked out, brushing past a man holding a camera phone. He had been watching quietly from outside. He lifted the phone again and snapped a photo of Aisha, standing tall among her scattered tools, eyes red, but full of fire. Aisha didn't even notice. She just picked up the stool, sat down, and continued working. Let them laugh, she thought. One day, they'll see. Aisha Bello was 28 years old and strong in a quiet way. She lived in a crowded part of Lagos, where houses stood side by side, and the streets were always noisy. Children ran through muddy paths, and the air often smelled of fried food, smoke, and wet clothes hanging outside. Her hair salon wasn't really a salon, just a small wooden stall with a broken mirror, a plastic chair, and a few tools. But to Aisha, it was everything. It was her second chance. Not long ago, her life looked different. She used to live in Abuja with her fiancé, Daniel. He was an architect. He said he loved her. He promised they would build a good life together. Aisha even studied cosmetology while staying with him, dreaming of opening a salon of her own. But those dreams didn't last. Daniel changed. He became distant. Then, one morning, he left. No warning, no goodbye, just gone. Heartbroken and embarrassed, Aisha came back home to Lagos. But home didn't feel safe. Her father, Papa Bello, was not the man he used to be. After their mother died, he began drinking a lot. He would sit outside the house all day, staring at nothing, sometimes yelling at neighbors. He blamed Aisha for her failed engagement and said she brought shame to the family. Chinello, Aisha's older sister, tried to keep the family together. She was 35, serious, and always working. She had no husband or children, and worked as a cashier in a local supermarket. She cooked, cleaned, paid the bills, and looked after Papa Bello. She was always tired. She didn't have time for dreams. She didn't believe in chances. To Chinello, all that mattered was surviving. "You need to wake up," she told Aisha often. "Stop chasing nonsense and find a real life. Get married again. Settle down. That's how women survive here." But Aisha didn't want that. She didn't want another man to fix her life. She wanted to fix it herself. She remembered how doing people's hair used to make her happy. It gave her peace. It made others feel beautiful. She thought maybe, just maybe, she could turn that love into a real business. She took what little money she had saved and borrowed a small amount from her uncle Musa. He owned a tiny internet cafe and sometimes helped her without asking too many questions. With the money, she bought a used hairdryer, a few packs of human hair, and some basic supplies. Then she set up her stall near a busy street, between a tailor's shop and a woman who sold fried yam. It was hot. It was loud. It was far from perfect. The power went out often. Rain flooded the stall sometimes. There were days no customers came, but Aisha still showed up. Every single day, she cleaned the mirror. She arranged her tools. She welcomed anyone who walked in, even if they only wanted to talk. The people in the area didn't take her seriously. They laughed at her. "Hair business in this dirty place?" some women said. She's wasting her time. Some even said she was cursed, just like her mother, whose own salon failed years ago. Aisha tried to act like the words didn't matter, but they did. At night, when no one could see her, she cried quietly into her pillow. Still, she didn't stop. She watched hair tutorials online to learn new styles. She gave free braids to schoolgirls so their parents would notice her work. She shared before and after pictures on social media. And one day, she found something special, a post about a business contest by BBC Africa. The winner would get money, new tools, and a chance to be featured on their website. Her heart beat fast. She wanted to try, but she was scared. What if they ignored her? What if Chinelo found out and got angry? Still, she opened the link, filled in her name, and started typing. She wrote about how she had lost everything, how she had no support, but she also wrote about how she stood up again. She talked about how her hair business was not just about money, it was about giving women confidence. She attached a picture of one of her favorite hairstyles and clicked submit. She didn't tell Chinelo. She knew her sister would not understand. Chinelo didn't believe in dreams. She believed in food on the table and bills paid on time. She didn't want her little sister taking risks. But there was one person who did believe in Aisha, Uncle Musa. He didn't say much, but he always helped her. He offered his cafe's internet. He encouraged her when she felt low. "You are not your past," he told her once. "You are your next step." One morning, as Aisha was sitting in the stall, tired from days of no customers, she didn't know that something had started to change. A young street photographer who walked past her stall every day had taken a photo of her without asking. In the picture, she looked tired, but strong. The sun hit her face just right, and her tools were shining in the background. He posted the photo online with a short caption, "Beauty and struggle, dreams from the slums." People began to share it, but Aisha didn't know that why. It was just another hot afternoon. The sun burned through the metal roof of Aisha's little stall. Her back ached from standing too long, and her stomach growled. She hadn't eaten since morning. A customer had promised to come by at noon, but never showed. She leaned against the wall and wiped sweat from her forehead. Then her phone buzzed. She picked it up, not expecting much. Maybe it was a message from a hair supplier or a reminder to pay a bill, but it was something else. "Congratulations, Aisha Bello. Your entry has been shortlisted for the BBC Africa Small Business feature. We would love to schedule an interview." She blinked, read it again, then again. Her hands began to shake. For a moment, she forgot how to breathe. She held the phone tight against her chest and laughed out loud. Then she covered her mouth, afraid someone would hear. She ran to Uncle Musa's cafe with the message open on her screen. He was eating roasted plantain behind the counter. "Uncle, look, they chose me. BBC Africa chose me." He looked at her, then at the message. His eyes widened. "Are you sure this is real?" "Yes. They want to interview me. They want to feature my business." He stood and gave her a hug. "Aisha, this is big. This is very, very big." For the first time in months, she felt like she was flying, like her pain and shame were far behind her. Maybe all the struggles, the mocking, the loneliness. It was finally worth something. But her joy didn't last long. That evening, when she returned home, Chinelo was sitting at the table with a hard look on her face. She had Aisha's phone in her hand. "You entered a contest, without telling me?" she asked. Her voice was cold. Aisha froze. "How did you—" "I saw your email notification. What are you trying to do, Aisha? Embarrass this family even more?" "It's not embarrassing. This is good news. BBC Africa picked me. You're doing hair in a wooden shack in the dirtiest part of the city. That's not success, that's a joke. And now you want to put our family name online. Let the world laugh at us." Aisha's mouth dropped open. "Why would they laugh? I worked hard. I've been trying every day. You think hard work is enough? Look at where we live. Look at Papa. We are barely surviving and you're out there chasing dreams like a child. Grow up, Aisha." Aisha felt like her chest was cracking. "I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking for help. I'm just trying to do something for myself. And what if it all falls apart again, like it did with Daniel? Are you ready to cry in front of the world this time?" That hit her like a slap. "I didn't fail with Daniel," Aisha whispered. "He left me. I didn't do anything wrong." Chinelo's face softened for a second, but only for a moment. "We don't have time for fairy tales, Aisha. We need to survive." Then their father walked in, drunk, shirt half buttoned. He looked at both of them, confused. "Why are you shouting?" he slurred. "What now?" "Your daughter wants to be on BBC," Chinelo said. "She wants to become a star." Papa laughed. BBC? For what? Fixing braids in the gutter. He laughed again, louder this time. It echoed in the small room. Then he picked up a bottle and stumbled to his chair. Aisha felt something break inside her, something deep. Her sister didn't believe in her. Her father mocked her. Nobody in her own home saw what she was trying to do. She stood there, shaking. Then she turned and walked out. She didn't even take her bag. She just walked until she found herself back at the stall. The sun had set. Mosquitoes buzzed. She sat on the chair and stared into the darkness. That night, she made a decision. She would go forward with the interview, no matter what. She would not ask anyone for permission. She had spent too long waiting for people to believe in her. If they wouldn't believe in her, then she would believe in herself. The next morning, she cleaned her stall until it shone. She put flowers in a jar beside her tools. She wore her best blouse. When the BBC team arrived, they were surprised by how bright and clean everything looked. The reporter was kind. She asked Aisha about her story, about losing everything, about the laughter, about rebuilding. Aisha told her everything, not to gain pity, but to show how far she'd come. When the reporter asked, "What kept you going?" Aisha smiled and said, "My hands. My hands never gave up on me, even when people did." 2 weeks later, the story went live. It exploded. People from all over Nigeria, and even outside the country, shared it. Women said they saw themselves in Aisha. Strangers sent messages of support. Some offered to donate money or tools. One woman in Canada said, "You reminded me of why I started my own journey. Thank you." But at home, things were still cold. Chinelo didn't say a word. Papa only scoffed when he saw the article on someone's phone. And yet, something had changed. Not outside. Inside Aisha. For the first time, she didn't care. The interview changed everything outside Aisha's world. But inside her own home, things only got worse. After the BBC feature went viral, people from different places came to find Aisha's stall. Some brought their daughters. Others brought friends. "I saw you online," they would say. "I want your hands to touch my hair." Aisha smiled and worked harder than ever. Her bookings doubled in just 1 week. She barely had time to eat, but she felt alive. She felt proud. Then one day she got a message from a local women's group. They wanted her to come speak at their event. "Your story inspires us," the message read. "We want our girls to hear from you." Aisha's heart jumped. It was her first speaking invitation. She went home that night with excitement bubbling in her chest. She found Chinelo cooking yam in the kitchen. Their father was snoring on the floor in the next room, drunk as always. "Chinelo, guess what?" Aisha said, dropping her bag on the chair. "A women's group wants me to speak at their event. Can you believe it?" Chinelo didn't even look up. "Are they paying you?" "No, but..." "Then what's the point? It's not about money. It's about impact. They want to hear my story." Chinelo stirred the pot harder. "You're always chasing attention. What are you trying to prove?" Aisha felt her chest tighten. "I'm not trying to prove anything. I just want to help others. If my pain can teach someone something, then maybe it was worth it." "You sound like Mama," Chinelo said, her voice low and cold. Aisha's breath caught. Don't bring Mama into this. She also believed in dreams. She also thought love could save her. Look where it got her. Buried before 40. That night, Aisha couldn't sleep. She sat outside under the stars, thinking about her mother. She remembered her soft voice, her gentle hands, the way she used to braid Aisha's hair while humming old songs. Her mother always said, "Never let anyone shame your light." But now, Aisha felt like everyone around her wanted to dim it. The next week, Chinelo didn't speak to her at all. She stopped eating dinner with Aisha. She kept to herself and slammed the door every night. Papa didn't notice. He was too busy drinking and cursing at the radio. Then something even worse happened. Aisha had ordered a new set of hair extensions from a supplier in Lagos. It was her biggest purchase yet, paid with the little savings she had made from new customers. The package was meant to arrive on Friday. On Thursday, she got a call. "Your delivery was collected yesterday by a woman named Chinelo Bello." Aisha's hand froze around the phone. "Collected? But I didn't send anyone." "Yes," the man said. "She showed your ID copy. We trusted it." Aisha hung up and ran home. Chinelo was lying on the bed, scrolling through her phone. "You took my package," Aisha said. Her voice was trembling. Chinelo sat up slowly. "So? Why would you do that?" Chinelo stood. "Because you're wasting money on trash, on fake hair and silly dreams. I gave it to Auntie Bola. She'll sell it and send me my share." Aisha's voice cracked. That was everything I had left. Good. Maybe now you'll stop embarrassing this family. Aisha lunged at her, but stopped herself. Tears ran down her face. You're my sister. Why are you doing this to me? You think you're better than us because you went viral. You think you're somebody now. I never said that. You didn't have to, Chinelo said. It's in the way you walk, the way people talk about you in the market. Aisha this, Aisha that. You're not a star. You're just lucky. And luck runs out. Aisha couldn't breathe. She walked out before her heart exploded. She went to her stall, but her hands shook too much to hold a comb. That night, she sat outside with Uncle Musa. She took everything, Aisha whispered. Everything. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, people hurt others when they are in pain. Your sister feels left behind. I never wanted to leave her behind. But you're rising, and she's still stuck. That burns. I loved her, Aisha said. She's all I had. Maybe, he said. But now you have yourself, and that has to be enough. The next day, Aisha didn't open the stall. She sat alone inside, thinking. She thought about quitting, thought about running, thought about her mother, her sister, Daniel, everyone who had made her feel small. Then her phone buzzed again. It was a video message from a teenage girl in Kenya. Hi Aisha, I saw your story on BBC. I just want to say thank you. My mum left us, and I started braiding hair to help my dad. I felt ashamed until I saw you. You gave me hope. Aisha watched the video 3 times. Her hands stopped shaking. She stood up, walked to her mirror, and fixed her hair. Then she took her phone and posted a video of her own. She didn't complain. She didn't mention Chinelo. She just spoke from the heart. To every girl who feels small, who feels invisible, I see you. I wore. A week after Chinelo left, the house became silent like never before. Aisha still woke up early, still opened her stall, still smiled for her customers. But something inside her had changed. She worked like someone trying to outrun pain. Every braid she did felt like a battle against the past. Then, one Sunday afternoon, something unexpected happened. Aisha was finishing a client's hair when she got a call from an unknown number. At first, she ignored it, but it kept ringing. Hello, she finally answered, wiping sweat from her forehead. Is this Aisha Bello? The voice asked. Yes. Who is this? This is Joyce from Echo Business Foundation. We help small women-owned businesses across Nigeria. Someone nominated you for our Rising Women Grant Program. You're one of the finalists. Aisha blinked. Wait, what? We saw your video online. Your story touched us. If you're chosen, you'll receive 1.5 million naira to grow your salon. Aisha dropped to her knees. Her client gasped. I don't know what to say. Say you'll come for the interview next week. Joyce laughed. I'll be there. Thank you. Thank you so much. When she hung up, her hands shook, not from fear, but from hope. For the first time in her life, someone wanted to invest in her dream, not destroy it. But joy didn't last long. The next day, Aisha walked into her stall and froze. The shelves were empty, her tools were gone. The wigs she had spent weeks making vanished. The walls felt like they were closing in. She ran outside and asked her neighbor, Mama Doris. I saw 2 men here early morning, Mama Doris said. They said you sent them. I didn't send anyone. Aisha's heart pounded. She called Uncle Musa. He came running, looked around and clenched his jaw. This wasn't random, he said. Someone knew what you had and wanted to stop you. Aisha suddenly remembered something. The week before, a customer had mentioned seeing her sister at a market in Ikorodu. Chinelo was selling human hair bundles and bragging that she had new investors. Aisha's blood ran cold. She borrowed a phone from Uncle Musa and called Auntie Bola's number. Chinelo answered. You stole from me again, Aisha said, her voice calm but shaking. I didn't steal. I took what should have been mine, Chinelo said. You left. You gave away my delivery. Now you've destroyed my stall. Chinelo laughed bitterly. You think I'd let you win? You embarrassed me. You made me feel like nothing in my own home. I never meant to make you feel that way. But you did. Every time people praised you. Every time Mama looked at you like you were gold and looked at me like I was rust. This isn't about Mama, Aisha snapped. This is about you. You hate seeing me rise. I just hate being left behind. Aisha's tears burned. You could have built your own path, but you chose to destroy mine. Chinelo was silent for a moment. Then she said, It's too late now. You've lost everything. Again. No, Aisha whispered. I haven't lost myself. She ended the call. Later that day, she went to the police station and filed a report. They didn't promise much, but they said they'd Look into it. Aisha knew justice might never come, so she made her own plan. She borrowed chairs and tools from her neighbors. Mama Doris gave her an old dryer. Uncle Musa brought leftover braiding hair from his store. One by one, the community came through. Even some of her clients volunteered to help clean the stall and repaint the walls. "You've helped us feel beautiful," one woman said. "Now let us help you rebuild." By the end of the week, Aisha was back in business. Small, but stronger. Then came the interview. Aisha wore a simple white blouse and black skirt. She didn't try to hide her scars, on her hands, in her heart, or on her story. When asked why she deserved the grant, she said, "I started with nothing, just my hands and my pain, but I turned that pain into purpose. Even when my own blood tried to tear me down, I didn't stop, because I believe every girl from the slums deserves to feel proud of who she is, not ashamed." There was silence in the room when she finished. One of the judges wiped tears from her eyes. "You're brave," the woman said. "No matter the outcome, know that you've already won." 2 weeks later, the call came. She had won. Aisha screamed so loud the entire street heard her. She ran to Mama Doris and hugged her tight. With the grant money, Aisha rented a bigger space. She hired 2 other girls from the slums and trained them. She named the salon Mama's Crown, in memory of her mother, who always told her to shine. One day, as she was locking the shop, she saw Chinello standing across the road. She looked thinner. Her eyes were tired. She didn't say a word, just watched. Aisha looked at her. For a long moment, they said nothing. Then Aisha turned and walked away, not in hate, but in peace. Because the real twist wasn't that Aisha had won money, it was that. The next morning, Aisha woke up before the sun. For the first time in years, she felt no weight on her chest. No fear, no shame, just calm. She walked to her new salon and opened the door slowly, like she was stepping into a dream. The walls were freshly painted soft pink. The mirrors were clean and big. The shelves were full of products she once only dreamed of owning. There were 2 new salon chairs, and her 2 assistants, Ada and Blessing, were already sweeping the floor and laughing. Aisha smiled. "Good morning." They looked up and grinned. "Auntie Aisha." She sat down and looked around the room. This was hers. Not borrowed, not begged for. Heron clients started coming in one by one. Some were regulars, others new faces who had seen her story online. A local blogger had written about her journey, and suddenly she was getting customers from across Lagos. Some just wanted a braid, others wanted a picture. Many just wanted to say thank you. "You make us proud," one girl said. "You show that girls from the slums can do anything." One afternoon, a woman from BBC Africa came in with a camera crew. "We'd love to feature your story," she said. "Your strength is inspiring." Aisha looked at the camera and thought of everything. The pain, the betrayal, the nights she cried into her pillow, the days she walked in the heat with heavy loads of hair, the lies, the theft, the heartbreak, but also the love, the community, the little acts of kindness that saved her. She nodded. "Okay, I'm ready." The day the video came out, her phone didn't stop ringing. Calls, messages, offers. She was invited to speak at events, to teach young girls how to braid, to mentor other women who had faced hardship. And then, one day, she got a letter. It was from a small charity group offering her a chance to travel to South Africa for a Women in Business conference. Aisha stood still, the letter in her hand. Just 3 years ago, she couldn't even afford slippers. Now she was being invited to speak on international stages. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat down, took a deep breath, and whispered, "Thank you, God." One evening, she visited her mother's grave. She wore a simple dress and carried a small basket of flowers. "Mama," she said quietly, kneeling down. "They said I wouldn't make it, that I'd fail, but I didn't. You were right. I just had to believe in myself." She placed the flowers gently and smiled. "Your girl did it." That night, Aisha slept peacefully. But her peace didn't mean the world was perfect. She still heard rumors about Chinello. Her sister had opened a small shop in another town but was struggling. Sometimes Aisha thought about reaching out, but then she remembered everything, and she reminded herself forgiveness didn't mean going back. So she forgave her, quietly, in her heart, but she kept moving forward. She used part of her money to open a small training school in the same neighborhood where she once cried in the dark. She taught girls not just how to braid hair, but how to handle money, deal with customers, and believe in themselves. She told them the truth, that people will laugh at you, they will doubt you, some may even steal from you, but if your dream is strong enough, you'll keep going, even when it hurts, even when you're alone. And they listened, because her story was real. Years passed. The salon grew, the school grew, and Aisha, once the girl who braided hair in the heat and shared one meal a day with her sister, became a name people respected. One day, a little girl came into her shop with her mother. The girl looked shy. She held her doll tightly. "Are you Aisha Bello?" the girl asked. Aisha smiled. "Yes, sweetie, that's me." The girl nodded. "I want to be like you when I grow up." Aisha's eyes softened. She bent down and took the girl's hand. "You'll be even better." That night, Aisha sat on her porch with a cup of tea. The streets were still noisy, kids running, sellers shouting. But inside her heart, there was silence. Not the silence of pain, the silence of peace. She didn't have everything, but she had enough. Enough to stand on her own. Enough to give others hope. And in the end, that was her true success. Not the money, not the fame, but the fact that she had become the woman she once needed. The woman who refused to give up. One quiet evening, Aisha sat alone outside her salon. The street was calm. Most shops had closed, and the sky was painted with soft shades of purple and gold. She looked at the sign above her door, Mama's Crown. She smiled. It was more than just a name. It was a promise, a reminder, a tribute to her past and her strength. A cool breeze passed, and she wrapped her shawl tighter around her shoulders. In her hand was a small notebook, old, worn, and filled with goals she once wrote in the dark. Goals that felt too big back then. She flipped through the pages. Own a salon. Train other girls. Be someone I'm proud of. She had checked all of them. Tears filled her eyes, not from pain this time, but from peace. She had faced storms, betrayal, hunger, and shame, but she had not given up. And because of that, she was still standing. A young girl walked by, waved, and shouted, "Good night, Auntie Aisha." Aisha waved back, her heart full. She looked up at the stars. Then she whispered to herself, "I made it. Not to a palace, not to a perfect life, but to a place where she could breathe, love herself, and help others grow." And that, for her, was more than enough.